Are you experiencing back pain that you can't get rid of? Getting migraines, vertigo, having trouble sleeping, and/or brain fog? Do you feel like your medical doctor doesn't understand your condition? Blair Chiropractic might be the solution you've been looking for. If you've ever been skeptical about this, the two doctors you're about to listen to were even more skeptical than you were when they looked into chiropractic work. But fear not. Get expert guidance from the blonde and the bald, Doctors Beth Bagley and Frederick Schurger. These two doctors have extensive experience beyond the healthcare realm and bringing unique vision and healing to their patients. What do you have when you get a biological analyst and an engineer together? Find out right here on another episode of The Blonde and the Bald. Welcome your hosts, Doctors Bagley and Schurger.
Good evening, Dr.
Good
Beth
evening.
Bagley. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Dr. Frederick?
I'm excellent. Folks, welcome to The Blonde and the Bald.
It is.
Yes.
It is. It's not the bald and the blonde. It's the most important person first.
Yes,
and then the second most important person. That's how I like to set it up.
Yes, not age before beauty. We're not doing it that way. Any case, we are what day is it? It's January 12th for us. I don't know when we're going to get this recorded. It was a beautiful day yesterday. Oh my goodness.
It was gorgeous. I was inside the whole day working, but that's fine.
I was. We had new gutters put on our house, and I got to walk out. I didn't see patients until the afternoon, but when I got into the office, my windows were open. So,
that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, a lot of people were in pleasant moods. Opposite today, where everybody was sad because it totally changed again.
Did you even see the sun today? We didn't.
No,
up here.
The weather's giving us whiplash, and I haven't been outside since 7:30 this morning. It is now 6:30 p.m. So I've heard it's windy and it's cold. So I'm looking forward to getting into my car.
But that seems about right for January.
It really does. And we have to have realistic expectations of the weather. So it's just we had like a couple good days. That doesn't mean that we have to get all sad.
Yes. I saw a really funny joke about how the proper way to enter someone's house in the Midwest is not through the front door, but rather through the garage.
Actually, that's pretty true.
Except for my garage isn't connected to the house, but that's another.
Oh yeah, yours isn't. Mine is.
Yeah, but anyway, but still not the front door because that's just that's just silly talk. So
it is. It's kind of silly.
Anyways,
okay. So I've had such a great week. So one of the things that, if you're listening and you don't leave some of your favorite businesses Google reviews, please do. So small businesses love Google reviews, good ones, I guess. If you're having a good experience or you love the small business you're working with, leave them a review. This week we've gotten 3 reviews, which is a lot for a week, honestly.
That is.
And they're all 3 great, but I want to read one of them because it's really wonderful to hear. So this is from Dina. She goes, Dr. Bagley is a master at her craft and so very compassionate as well. What more could one want in a medical provider? When I first came to Dr. Bagley, I had headaches, neck pain, and some nerve compression issues that caused me a lot of discomfort. I no longer have neck pain or headaches, and when the nerve issue rears its head on occasion, it is quickly resolved by a visit to Dr. B. That's a big deal to me. I can't thank you enough, Dr. Bagley, Dr. Shiloh, and Aaron, the best team and the most welcoming, healing environment. The treatment is life-changing stuff.
That's amazing.
Pretty good one. I feel like I should pay her for that. It was so good. No, but isn't that sweet? She walked in not feeling good, but she has been doing well with care, but she could tell something wasn't right. She got the care when she needed it, and she walked out and then wrote an awesome review, which was nice.
That's great.
I know. So that's why we do what we do, is we've put all this time and effort into learning how to adjust specifically an area of the spine that affects so many people, so many different ways.
Right.
And I love what I do.
Mm-hmm. And it's just nice to, I had, the guys that were putting up the gutters, the one was asking me, hey, do you deal with this occipital neuralgia? And I'm like, yeah, I deal with that a lot. And then the other guy chimes in. He says, I've been to 4 or 5 chiropractors. None of them can pop my low back. And I'm like, and neither will I.
Yeah, I don't do it.
Because the problem is probably not there. He's just feeling it there.
Yep.
And there's a reason that he's hurting. So it's always exciting when patients are like, oh, this is what I've been missing. And
Yes.
that's just great. Now you had a couple others, didn't you?
Yeah. The other one, Michael had been having like really serious headaches, and he's like a guy's guy, right? Like he is a woodworker, and he's super nice. Love him to death. But for him to go out of his way to write a review was a really big deal. And so what he said is simply awesome, exclamation point. They meet you where you are with your treatment. I've never received an adjustment that I didn't need, which is important. Many times I have a checkup with no adjustment because I didn't need one. Oh, and my major neck pain and headaches, they are gone thanks to their treatment. Not sure I could be more positive about how awesome the team is.
That is fantastic. And that's exactly that's exactly what we want to hear, because that's exactly the care that we're delivering, and we want to make sure that we're doing the job the way we're supposed to be doing it, and that feedback is always great. So
yeah,
it's wonderful.
Yeah. Again, please leave reviews for the small businesses that you go to, because it helps. First of all, it makes us feel fantastic, but it helps other people find us. And that's another reason we're doing the podcast, is that so more people are exposed to this awesome type of chiropractic care. And obviously we're happy to see you in our offices if you're close enough by, within a few hours of driving. But there are Blair chiropractors all over the country that are just wanting to help so many people. So one of the things you can go to is blairchiropractic.org and look for located. Which one is it? .com?
It's .com.
Sorry, blairchiropractic.com, and hit locate a doctor, and you will find a doctor based on your location. Incredible. Love it.
Yeah. And that's something that, that was one of my biggest pet peeves when I started practicing and started getting involved with the Blair Chiropractic Society. I said, we don't have a good website that's easy for people to find. And we figured out all the bits and pieces. And I know I helped try to get that on the path that we're at now. It's taken a while to get it good. So
it's a great website now.
It really is. And it's fantastic what they've been working with to get it to that point. And you mentioned, within a few hours, that's sort of the upside downside to finding a good Blair chiropractor, to finding a good doctor, period. Sometimes you got to travel a little bit. In fact, I had one young lady, she'd forgotten how long ago it was when she came in to see me the first time. It was 2016 for migraines, really bad migraines, apparently. She came in to see me 3 times. I think I adjusted her maybe twice. And she felt so good that she's like, I don't need to go back just to, if I'm feeling good. Well, let's fast forward to this week. She's been apparently taking pretty high dose medications for a while. Now she's Amish, and she lives an hour and a half away from where I am. So, transportation's tricky. I go over there every other week. But
that's not enough at first sometimes.
Well, it's true. It's not. And for some people, it is better than nothing. And sometimes they need to get in here more often. But for her, she only needed a couple. It was funny because her driver was telling her she probably needs to at least get checked, if she's doing that good, every couple of months. Because that's what her and her husband had been doing up in Chicago. Again, from central Illinois, about a 2-3 hour drive to get up to Chicago. They were doing that twice, a couple times a year until their doctor left. And then she's like, when can we get in here? So, she got pregnant, and, she and her husband, she got married, her husband's like, you can't take these high dose medications to take care of this migraine. You're getting adjusted almost on a weekly basis by the local chiropractor, who doesn't do upper cervical for that matter. Well, what else can you do? And she's like, oh yeah, Dr. Schurger helped.
Yes.
But this goes back to a idea that popped in my head. And this is I call this the dad talk, or you can call it the mom talk, or you can call it the parental talk, but it's the talk that we as doctors sometimes have to tell our patients to remind them that there is a process that needs to be followed. And we are the ones who know, who have seen enough cases to know what that process needs to be. And you need to follow it to what we're telling. We're not telling you to come in here 3 times a week. First off, we're not going to tell you that anyways.
No.
But we're going to tell you this is the best process to get you back and keep you in health. This is hey, someone's got to be an adult in this relationship, and we got to tell you what's going on. I don't have children. I have nieces and nephews, but I've had the conversation with my dad several times on the other side of this, on the receiving end, basically saying, remember when I told you this 10 years ago? And I'm like, yeah, I learned the lesson now. It took me 10 years to learn the lesson. Sometimes it does. Yep. But what we don't want to, this is the problem a lot of people don't get is we're going to tell you what the solution is. And not everyone's going to accept that solution at face value. And that's okay. I'm going to be here. You're going to be there.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And there's a financial involvement in it.
Absolutely.
There's an
time
aspect,
involvement.
There's an aspect of trust too. You may have seen 10 other doctors before you've seen us.
Absolutely.
And they've told you, oh, it's all in your head, or take I call them shut up meds. Here's some shut up meds. Just take them and shut up.
Yep.
And so people have been through a lot when they come in our doors, but we set up ourselves. We are leaders in your healthcare. We are leading you down the path. We're doing it from our heart. We don't, yes, we have to pay the bills and stuff. No chiropractor I know personally does chiropractic just for money. Like we're doing it because we truly want to save humanity.
Yeah.
So when they're sitting across from me, what we have is compassion, because both of us, Dr. Frederick and I, we've been on the other side of this. And that's the reason we're chiropractors. That's the reason we're upper cervical doctors, is we know what it feels like to be you. And I think when we come from a place of compassion and set ourselves as leaders, that's when people follow. And the following is literally just showing up. Because we can't help you if you don't walk in.
Right. And getting back to this patient that I hadn't seen in 7 years, she's like, oh yeah, this worked. And I took new pictures and I reanalyzed her, and good news is she didn't have any major traumas other than she's getting pregnant. So,
which is sometimes a trauma in itself.
Well, she hasn't, she's not that far along yet, but still. But she's like, I want to be healthy and I want to be able to take care of my family. And we were joking about egg prices, because her husband's like, you paid how much for a package of eggs? We just bought a farm that has a barn and a chicken coop on it, and they're going to put chickens up there. So I might have another.
Smart move.
I might have 2 sources.
Because you eat a lot of eggs.
I do. We could talk about that when we review some of my health goals later on tonight. But no, she's like, when she was 17, she's like, I don't need to go in. I feel good. And now she's in her early 20s. She's about to be a mother. She understands, I need to do a little bit more to take care of things, because if I take care of things now, it's going to be less of a problem later. As I joke with all my patients, but especially the younger ones, I ask them to look at the older folks in their community. If they go to church, especially, this is where they sit, opposed to this is where they sit. I hope that's good posture.
I can see it. No, you're bad.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. Well, I'm sitting in a chair that I would not normally sit in for really good posture. In fact, it's not my choice chair, but it's the chair that
it's good for the podcast.
It's good for the podcast.
So that being said, when you're pregnant, there's things that you avoid, and things like that you're told not to consume or take. Like you don't want to take a whole bunch of medications, like she was saying. Yep. There's even things that you're not supposed to eat. Like they say, don't eat fish more than once a week or whatever, because of the amount of mercury in it.
And that goes back and forth, because sometimes the benefit from the fish outweighs the mercury potential toxicity.
Right.
that is there. So there's this back and forth on that.
Well, I mean,
topic.
there's even like the crazy, like, don't eat lunch meat and don't, like, you could go way far with these things not to do
absolutely.
when you're pregnant. And it's amazing some of the things that the pharmaceutical companies get away with allowing people to take when they're pregnant.
Exactly.
But we won't go into that. But even I almost think of myself as like, if I want to treat myself as well as I was treating myself if I was pregnant. Like, I don't want to put things in my body that are going to be toxic or harm me at any point. So when someone comes into my office, I tell them that there are things that we should treat medically, and then there's things that we should probably stop treating medically. And where I go with this is there's a lot of over-the-counter medications that people just take because they think they're safe and they're fine. And it's just over the counter. It's just it's like simple as taking a vitamin. And it's not true. Some of these over-the-counter medications are actually pretty dangerous. So let's go for the first instance. If Dr. Schurger, you have a fever, it's a fever of 102. You don't feel real good. You have two choices. We could let the fever run its course, or you could take a fever reducer, which would be an Advil, Tylenol, or aspirin, right?
Right.
All three of those medications have their own side effects. But what do you feel like? What do you feel like when you have a fever? How do you feel?
I feel like death.
Like death, right? Especially if you're a man.
Absolutely.
And we call it a man cold. The man cold is terrible. It's awful. And people should be scared of the man cold. But you feel like death. Yeah.
Right. And the funny thing is when I was an undergrad at Rose-Hulman, there was, we joked about them being the blue bombers. And I don't know if this was antibiotics. I don't know if it was Advil, Tylenol. I don't know what it was, but it would come in this cute little pill box. I still probably have a couple from my undergrad days. And we would swear we would all get the same box and, take so many for so many days.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And that's, and we'd all be sick at the same time because,
when you're all living together. Yeah.
Well,
and just like a family does.
Well, and it's funny because they were joking. I saw a meme on the internet about how they feel like they're living on Camino, which is a Star Wars reference. And if you get that, then great. And then I joked, well, it's only January, so wait until it feels like Hoth. And then you thought it smelled bad on the outside, which is
for all of you who don't understand that. I don't either. My husband would get it, but...
and that's a really funny joke for all the geeks out there
I'm
who
so glad
appreciate Star Wars and realize that Rose-Hulman was an all-male school at the time when I was there. Any case, this is other jokes.
Okay. So you feel like you've got a fever and you feel like death. So what do you do when you feel like death? You go lay down. You rest, and you sleep, and you drink lots of fluids. Yep.
And quite honestly, once we figured that out, and a buddy of mine told me, hey, how long does it take you to get better with that little blue bomber box? And I'm like, about 3 days. And how long does it take you to do that if you don't get that box? About 3 days. So once I tried that out, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And I
just go rest.
And I just, I recognize that my body was overwhelmed. And that's what most people are doing when they get a fever, is their body is just overwhelmed. You need to let the immune system
Let it do it. So we take, let's say, an Advil. It reduces the fever. I feel much better. The fever's gone. I go to work. Maybe I get someone else sick, whatever. People are doing that less now that COVID's happened, but still, people are taking fever reducers to feel better. Right. But really, you're not supposed to feel good when you have a fever. And the reason your fever spikes is there's a couple different reasons. You have to make you rest, but also it activates the immune cells. So it helps your immune system fight whatever baddie is in you right now. So a fever is a good thing. Now, obviously, there's a time and a place. Like if your fever is crazy high, or if you have a baby with a fever and you're scared, yes, it's time to go seek medical attention. I'm not saying don't seek it. I'm just saying really consider not treating a fever so that your body can fight the virus or bacteria faster.
Right.
I honestly think that I wish you could split yourself into an A-B group when you have a fever and be like, this one I'm treating and this one I'm not, and see who fights it faster. And I honestly think if you let the fever run its course, you're going to fight that cold or virus off faster.
Right. And how many times did you effectively do that with your twins?
Oh, many, many times. These kids have never been on antibiotics in their lives.
Right.
And I'm not saying that to be like, I'm the best parent in the world. I'm not, but they get chiropractic care. They eat a relatively healthy diet. I mean, they're not perfect. And we don't treat a fever. The fever gets better.
The fever
so
is
that being
the
said,
medicine.
that being said, we did have
some
some scares when they were little. So
oh, sure.
I just put that out there, as there was some scary stuff that happened when they were real little with febrile seizures. So
Ooh.
yeah, that was scary. They were like 2. I'll tell that story in another day.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, to this day, like we don't like, actually one of the girls had symptoms of strep, and we did gargles. We did colloidal silver, hot baths, not super hot, but hot baths, hot showers. And 2 days later, she was back to normal. And if I would have taken her to urgent care, we would have had some penicillin.
Totally,
absolutely.
Totally. But getting back to your point about some of these over-the-counter meds being troublesome, I have Illinois has got a new statute and law that says we have to sort of identify or take a class to identify Alzheimer's as far, just to perceive what's going on. And the presenter pointed out that there are certain medications that are oftentimes over the counter, not always, and I'll throw out a couple of others, that if you're taking those on the regular, the question ends up being how much of that is leading to Alzheimer's symptoms. So one of them, which was really common, is just an antihistamine. And in this young man's family, he doesn't let his children have antihistamines in the house. I mean, it's not happening. Other natural ways are examined instead. But one of his parents had, I think his father had Parkinson and his mother had Alzheimer's, and they were both taking antihistamines along the way for some of that. The other thing, and this gets to the question of, prescription drugs that people have to take for the rest of their lives. You have statins were sort of ruled out on that, but statins lead to other muscle wasting fatigue issues.
Yes.
So you've got that issue, and then you've got beta blockers for heart issues. Was another one, and that one actually also leads to Alzheimer's. So when we start weighing the back and forth, what is the immediate problem that we are trying to fix? Great, maybe we need that. And I'm not saying that these medications don't have a place in your healing regimen, but we shouldn't get to a point where we are dependent upon these for the rest of our lives. In fact, funny aside, the comic book writer Scott Adams, or the comic strip writer Scott Adams, who writes the Dilbert comic strip, he's been dealing with asthma forever. In fact, I knew he was dealing with asthma back in the day because I'd heard about that in one of his earlier books. Because again, I'm an engineer, and Dilbert makes fun of engineers. Less making fun of engineers and more the environment that we get stuck in. But he recently went in for a reevaluation of all of his meds because he's getting into that 65 age group. And they basically said, yeah, this asthma medication that you've been on for 20 years, you don't need it. And he's like, what do you mean? I've been taking it for 20 years to keep my asthma away. And the doctor said, no, you don't need it. This is if you're having a case and you're having symptoms. You're not having symptoms. You don't need this medication. So he's off of that, feeling great. And that's sort of the funny thing. As he's been taking off some of these medications, he's identifying that he's feeling better. And some of the symptoms that he has been having from other things went away all of a sudden.
When you said asthma, I forgot about this thing that happened this week. Okay. Another aside. We're going way off topic, but that's fine.
We're having fun. This is our place.
I have a 93 or 94-year-old patient. She just started with us. Was a referral from another patient who's had amazing results. And she brought her in, and she's been with us for 3 or 4 weeks. She's the sweetest lady. I love her. And she's so funny. We should have her on the podcast. She could take over this podcast.
Oh, wonderful.
So she has had asthma symptoms since she was a child. And she's been on medication since she's been a child. She forgot to take her asthma medication 3 weeks ago. like a day or two in a row. And she realized that none of her things were there after a day or two. And she goes, I'm just going to try not taking it. So she stopped taking it. And she came into me this week, Monday or Tuesday, and said, Doc, could this help my asthma? And I was like, actually, it can. We talked about Dr. Blair in past episodes where his asthma was quote unquote cured with upper cervical care. And I kind of told her that story real quick. And I was like, this absolutely can affect asthma. And she goes, oh my goodness. She was so excited. And I'm so excited for her. She's feeling so much better. It's never too late to get chiropractic care unless you're dead.
Well, we're still working on that. We're working on that.
Okay. So other things not to treat, right? So I started getting sick to my stomach. I started puking, right? So you're puking or the other way, right?
Wait, did you go to McDonald's?
I went to McDonald's.
Did you go to did you get runs from the border? Did you?
It could. Right? So did you have some
bad fish?
Or bad chicken or whatever. You can get food that's bad, right? So we eat the bad food, we start puking, or it comes out both ends. Sorry, guys. We have medication that stops puking, and we have medication like Imodium that stops diarrhea, right? So if you have a bug that has entered your body through the digestive tract and you want to stop doing the things like puking and pooping, should you take the pills? I mean, it'll make you feel better.
It might. And my only concern would be, can you keep it down enough fluids? And that would be the exception to the rule.
And that's when you should go get medical treatment, right?
Exactly.
And get some IV fluid. But I still don't think you should take those. And the reason being is your body is doing what it's supposed to and getting rid of it, going both ways, getting that crap out of your body, literally, as fast as possible so that you could not get like septic or get really hurt by this. Yeah. But if we take the pills and lock everything in there, well, what could happen is you could get sicker. So that's when we don't, in my house, we don't treat diarrhea and we don't treat puking. We just go through it. Not fun, but we do it.
Exactly. And it's just one of those things. And usually we're talking a couple of hours. It
usually is. It's usually the 24-hour bug.
Yeah, either the 24-hour bug or food poisoning. And it's hard to ever track down where you got the food poisoning from. Mm-hmm. I mean, you go out to a restaurant. I'm not saying that restaurants have unsanitary conditions, but sometimes things get through. In fact, one of my patients decided he was going to put some what is it called? Parmesan cheese on his pizza today for the first time in a long time. And all of a sudden he tastes the pizza and he's like, no, something's wrong here. Something's moldy. Sure enough, the Parmesan pizza or the Parmesan cheese in the shaker had gone bad. It happens, and it's not something that anyone's trying to do to kill you. But it is, it's a reality of real food. Food molds. Food goes bad. It's
supposed to. If it doesn't, then it's really bad for you.
Exactly. The fact that you can eat that McDonald's French fry that is hiding in the back of the van for 3 or 4 years since the last time you remember buying
and
McDonald's.
It looks exactly the same.
And it tastes exactly the same.
Ew, you're going to eat it. That's gross.
Well, I had, I was young.
I was hungry. So I guess the last thing, if you can add any to this list, will, but like, let's say the sniffles, like I've got a runny nose.
Right.
Okay. I could take, like what you said, antihistamine if it's coming from like too many allergens, or I could take, what is that one that people take that dries you up? Sudafed, right?
Yeah.
You can make meth out of it. It's awesome.
Right. And you now have to go and sign your life away.
You do give your ID,
your driver's license, and everything,
your passport, your firstborn child.
Because I'm like, wow, how many times do I have to sign to get enough to make meth? I mean, that seems ridiculous, but
I guess it's a big issue. I don't know, but
apparently. But in any case.
So we take that thing to dry things up, right? But there's a reason that the nose is trying to run, and it's trying to remove the pathogens that are in there, and it's doing a good job. So we stop it up, and now we've stopped the natural body process.
And
the symptom is
secretory IgA. That's that secretory IgA stuff that we did my research study on a couple months ago. we talked about.
Yeah.
And that's exactly your frontline defense for your immune system. And now you're turning it off.
Mhm.
This is not a great way to try to be healthy. The better way would be to say, what triggered it?
Yeah, what did I do to allow my body to get into a state where it was accepting of this pathogen?
Mm-hmm.
And because we're the host of the pathogen. So was I just unlucky? Maybe. Maybe I ate too much sugar over the holidays. Maybe. And the immune system went.
Yep.
Maybe my vitamin D levels are low.
Yep.
Maybe
And
I
it
need a
could be
chiropractic adjustment.
all of the above, and
Yeah.
those are the big ones. So
So what are you doing currently? So post COVID, during COVID, when someone didn't feel good, we were told not to see them. And that's like anti-chiropractic. Like
Yeah.
in the past, we were like, come in if you're sick. Obviously, if you're puking or what, please don't come in then. But if you can get in, and we'll keep you separate from other people because we don't want to spread stuff around. But at the same time, this is when you need to get seen.
Yeah.
Are you back at that now, or are you?
I never stopped.
Yeah,
I never stopped. In fact, usually what I would do is I'd like, hey, I've got real bad problems, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna have you come in at this point in time, and when I'm, I might not have a bunch of patients coming in, or maybe it would be an off time for me.
Yeah.
One of the good news, bad news things about COVID for chiropractors is we had a whole lot more free time because going to find new patients weren't happening. It's like the traditional ways that we would do our marketing just weren't there, which is quite honestly, I'd rather just
I wish we were doing this podcast at that time. That would have been fun.
It would have been so much more fun.
We just didn't think about it.
Nope. We really didn't. But in any case, but no, I mean, we would not, we would normally be out in the community visiting people, going to the gyms for, working out and things like that. But yet, you didn't have that. So we had more free time. So it's like, I'm going to be here anyways. I'm not going anywhere. Might as well see patients. So
yeah, we did. We never closed down. Right. We weren't forced to, which was nice. I know in some states people were forced to.
Right.
But we did see less people because people were scared, or they were just following the directions of the overlords. And but I am glad that everything's back to normal.
Yes.
And the people who are not back to normal, I'm praying for you that you can get yourselves back to normal.
You. Yeah, because we're technically still on a health emergency over here in the state of Illinois. I don't understand that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so, Missouri, we're pretty much doing it all. I mean, I'm in St. Louis County. St. Louis County tends to be a little bit more run with a little bit more like a dictatorship. So, but right now everything's okay, and we're excited about that.
Well, good.
So any other things that you can think of, like if your leg fell off, would you like let that not get treated?
That's a different situation.
It is.
You end up. I saw this this one video where a man woke up in his tent in the middle of the night to look out to see a sea of crocodiles surrounding his tent. Yeah, it was pretty. I'm like, that's the worst camping trip ever. It cost him an arm and a leg.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, that was funny. Not as funny as my Hoth joke, but that's another story.
Yeah, that nobody gets. That one at least people will get. So
yes, they will.
You're all welcome.
But at that point in time, if you and a crocodile or an alligator get into a wrestling match, go. Heck, if you and a cat and a big cat gets into a wrestling match, anything that's got a long tooth that might penetrate the skin, it might be broken, but it might not be severed. You're going to want some antibiotics for that. Because
so and we live in a time where there's amazing technology, and our emergency medicine in the United States is amazing.
It is, and that's always been the forefront of medicine, especially again in the U.S. is really emergency care, critical acute care. Yep. And we have learned to excel at that. The problem is the chronic care, and this ends up being the joke about, a lot of older chiropractors like to make this joke. They say the DC doesn't stand for chiropractic. It technically stands for doctor of chronic, And it's all the chronic conditions that have been around forever. And we're the ones who generally, by getting your body to start healing and functioning again, can get you back into proper working order, so that your body can heal from those chronic conditions as best as possible.
Yeah. So, matter has limitations, but at the same time, it's never too late.
Correct.
Go get the care you need. Find a chiropractor in your area. It changes lives. So you're telling me if your leg fell off, you would get emergency care?
I'm going to try to see if they can stitch it back on. It's hard to do kettlebell swings
with one leg.
With one leg. It's not impossible. I mean, I'd get a prosthetic. I'd get a prosthetic.
You'd be okay.
But but again, it's hard.
So moving on to goals. So we talked a little bit last podcast about like the beginning of year and how we're doing with or what we wanted to do with goals. And I've come along pretty well this week. I've been very busy this week, which is great. I'm so excited. I did skip my workout on Wednesday that I was going to do because I just needed time to relax, but I'm going to get my 2 workouts in this week. And I know a lot of people are like, 2 workouts, that's nothing. I know, but when you haven't worked out for like a month and a half, 2 workouts in a week is amazing. So I'm excited. Really, if you want to poo-poo it, that's fine. But I'm all about my 2 workouts this week.
Well, and again,
it'll be Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Sunday.
And all goals need to be reasonable and achievable. If you can't achieve it, you're going to just you'll burn yourself out. Just all the negative self-talk that will naturally happen. Oh, you're not good enough. You can't do
right.
You can't even get out and go for a walk. And that'll get you in trouble. Now, 2 is good. And then here come maybe February, you're going to say, I
think I can add another one. Yeah, that's my mindset on it. Yeah, I'll definitely be able to do it.
Because I had another patient came in this week and she's like, I hurt all over. I've been walking 2 miles. And it's like, wait a second, every day? Yeah. Where? In the one in Washington Park, which is all the good walking paths are all paved. And I'm like, I've done those. How much were you walking before you started this? Not much, maybe half a mile. It's like, no. Back up, do a mile, 30 minutes, you're done. And then just try to do it a little bit more. Try to go
every week, go a little bit more or a little bit faster.
A little bit faster, but keep that time short and try to figure out what your limitations are. And so you don't hurt yourself.
Yes.
Because I'm pretty fit, and I went for a walk, actually I went for a run, and my knees hurt. I hadn't run in ages.
Yeah.
And I was running with the form that I've always used, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to walk. Because, what was my goal? My goal was try to get some sun while it was vitamin D time, and it was just pleasant. So
and we've had some good weather for that.
We did.
And then my other goal is personal goal. I've got lots of business goals, but everybody's going to be bored with those, is to track my food. Every food that I eat, I track on my phone. And I like doing that because it keeps me accountable just to myself of knowing, okay, like I ate this and this, and at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't need a big dinner because I had a big lunch or vice versa. So I like just knowing it and seeing it in front of me, because if I can see it in front of me, it's real. A lot of times we forget what we ate. It's not a big deal.
What app are you using?
I use the Weight Watchers app.
Got it. Are you using a scale?
Oh yeah. Food scale for sure.
Yeah. Cause I think, and there are so many apps out there. The Weight Watchers has an app. I think MyFitnessPal has an app, is one of the apps.
And there's Noom and a couple
I like
other ones.
Chronometer personally.
I don't know that one.
Chronometer is one that's got a lot of extra stuff. I know Dr. Mercola has been using it and doing some studies with people who are utilizing that app. And all of these things integrate on your phone. I mean, I don't care if you're Android or Apple. Dumb phones, not so much, but some days I want a dumb phone.
Right.
But
I want to go back in time.
But the 2 things you need to track that food, and you're doing it 100% right, is a good something that you can put it in fast and easy. You can say, I am eating this.
And a lot of times if you're eating the same thing, a lot of these apps, it's just like bing, 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 because you're
right. You can just copy and paste, but you need a food scale.
Yeah,
And
it's interesting.
scales-
Like you think, oh, I'm just going to have a serving of chips or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Not that I recommend chips, but so many people overeat chips. Well, a serving of chips is like
Oh,
10
absolutely.
chips. It's like 10 chips. Who
Yeah.
eats 10 chips? Well, I do if I'm weighing them.
Right.
And so weigh your, actually, this is a really good little hack is I have kids and stuff. So we buy, organic chips and that stuff. But if I buy a bag of chips and it's not like single serve chips, the kids will eat all of them in 2 servings, even though that's like 6 servings in a bag. So when I get a bag, I open the bag, I weigh out each serving, I know it's wasting plastic, I'm sorry, but I put it into Ziploc bags.
Sure.
And then I put it back into that bag. So then when they reach in, they just pull out 1 serving.
That works, but it also means you pull out 1 serving.
Exactly. And exactly. That is so true.
And that makes a huge difference. Because I've tracked, calories when I've done my keto journey in the past. When I lost 30 pounds doing a keto cut. But you had to track everything because I was making sure I wasn't, because I'm trying to get all my macros, which is a whole other we can talk about keto macros another time, but you have to do all of that work and you really need that scale. The scale gives you, in fact, if you were going to buy a scale, I would buy a food scale and I'd throw out your scale in your bathroom because quite honestly, that food scale will get you better results. Plus, if you're into
weighing
baking
yourself every day. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're into baking, you are so much better off using a food scale to figure out your ingredients.
Oh yeah.
Or to say, well, it's a cup. Well, maybe, but maybe
no, that's what I use. I
use
for my my sourdough baking is a food scale to get all the ingredients, and it's so easy to do. Once you get used to like you put it on and then you add until you got them enough and then you add the water. I just add it all together in one bowl, but just clear it out between ingredients. The food scale is a lifesaver on that stuff.
I think so too. And that just makes all the difference. Now, interesting, you're watching your calories and I'm trying to figure out how to get to 300 grams of protein in a day and how I will consume that. It really is.
That actually hurts my stomach.
Yeah. One of my goals is try to figure out how I can change body composition so that I can lean out.
How many grams of protein is in an egg?
You'd have to look it up, but
I'm going to look it up because I want to figure this out.
Like yesterday, I probably had 1.5 pounds of meat and 6 eggs and I had a little bit of bacon. So that probably is in that 1.5 pounds.
So there's 6 grams of protein in 1 boiled egg.
Yeah.
Right?
6 to 7.
And you want to get how many?
I'm not
300. I know, but I wanted to see if you were eating it in eggs.
Yeah, it would be a lot of eggs.
50 eggs.
Yeah,
that'd be expensive.
Especially at $6 a carton right now. I'm thankful that I can get 2 for $9 at the one store, and I'm not going to tell you what I can get from certain people who are really good friends.
See, there you go. You got to have your egg supplier. Some people have their drug supplier. We have our egg suppliers.
I'm just hoping that the chickens are laying. But
they're starting to a little bit now.
But prioritizing protein as you're counting all these calories is important because protein. If you make sure you hit your protein goal on a regular, you will actually be less hungry and your body composition will change. Most people are not getting 1 gram per kilogram, I think is what it's supposed to be, of body weight. Which, I'm 188 pounds, which is about 85 kilograms, which just 1 gram is 85. 2 grams would be about 160. Yesterday,
and that's still not even close to 300 like you're trying to get.
Not. And I mean, yesterday I ate about 190, and that's no protein shakes or anything like that. So I'm going to try an experiment. I'm going to try it for a week to see if I can even get close to that.
Okay.
Because that's a lot of food.
It is a lot of food.
And quite honestly, I'm eating a lot of food as it is. So again, it's an experiment because as you approach 3 points, the study that they did was 3.7 grams per kilogram of protein. And they saw really significant results compared to the group that was doing 2 grams of protein. But even 2 grams of protein is better than most people are doing. Most people are not getting that gram that they need. So this is important. And, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to improve your health, protein is your building block for everything.
Very big deal. Yes. And healthy fats.
Yep.
So is there any other personal goals? I know you're going to now try to eat 300 grams of protein.
At least for a week.
I can't wait to hear how that goes next week.
Yeah, that there might be, we'll find out. The other goal, I've keep on, I only missed the cold showers on one day, but I finished it with one. And then I got to this morning, I got up about 5 o'clock and I said, I'm going to do it. And at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, I said, that's enough.
Okay. That's pretty good. I did 0 minutes of a cold shower today.
Well,
so
I realized that.
0.
If you shivered for me, then you probably got the benefit.
There you go. Okay. I think I have nothing left to talk about tonight. Do you have anything left?
The other thing that I'm doing, and the reason I'm looking to increase the protein and increase the cold showers, is the workout routine I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
The amount of volume, and this gets back to slowly step things up. The amount of volume that I'm doing is 4 days a week, and I was used to doing 3 days a week. 4 days a week of volume of kettlebell training is a lot.
Okay.
At 3 days, I said, I feel good. I've got a little bit left in the tank. Even at this program at 4 days a week, I've got some left in the tank, but there are very often mornings when I'm just like, can I sleep in for another hour? And it was already 8 o'clock at that one day. So again, ease yourself into these goals.
Yes.
Because sometimes you think you're able to do something and you're not. So,
and that's okay. It's okay. It's okay to fail sometimes. It's okay to fail and listen to your body. And
this is why I decided to pick up some eggs for the first time in about a month and just pound those down, because that usually gets me back into my ability to lift heavy weights. So
awesome. Well, it was good to talk to you, Dr. Frederick Schurger.
Absolutely. Dr. Bagley, how are you? Where are people going to find you?
They are going to find me at precisionchirostl.com. They can find me on Facebook on Precision Chiro STL or on Instagram at Precision Chiropractic STL.
Got it. And I'm at KeystoneChiroSPI.com. Probably I've got one on Facebook, and there's a Keystone Doc on Instagram. My kettlebell journey does show up there from time to time. I might kettlebell snatches tomorrow, so there might be
everybody go check that out.
yeah go watch me. I will see how cold it is in the house, whether I've got myself worked up to take the t-shirt off. So anyways, we will adjourn for the evening. Everyone keep on liking, subscribing to the podcast and the channel. Give us a 5-star review. Share us with your friends and your family. And we look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
That's all for today's episode of The Blonde and the Bald. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoyed today's show with Drs. Bagley and Schurger, remember, don't give up and just live with the pain. Come back next week and get more answers and solutions. Visit our websites at KeystoneChiroSPI.com and PrecisionChiropracticSTL.com for more info, and catch all the episodes of The Blonde and the Bald.